Ohio State 7 times in the Rose Bowl. The last 2 have been real thrillers.
They probably will be too.
They're using up so much energy, they won't have any left in this ball game.
They'll have a little again. Well, doesn't this look like a bunch of fierce gladiators marching to attack their foe? I think so. And modern Trojan musicians, 250 strong, and they make the USC band one of the best in the world. And you all know about Tommy Trojan. Tommy Trojan is actually Richard Salko on his wonderful white horse, and whenever USC scores, Bob, they go galloping around that field.
I wonder how much galloping he'll be doing today.
We're going to find out in just a few hours.
We're surrounded by Ohio State rooters here. You realize that?
See a lot of those colors.
Every time we say USC, we got a dirty look from the people right down here below us.
Hope you like sugar, because this box contains not 1, not 2, but 6 added teaspoons. This has 10, and this 18. And spoon-sized shredded wheat, none. When you shred the wheat for better toasting, it tastes great naturally. So it goes against our grain to add sugar, or even salt. Nabisco Shredded Wheat. 0 added sugar or salt. 100% whole wheat.
Planters unsalted peanuts. Is this the Riviera? More tropical punch, please. And then perhaps a dip in the pool.
Planters unsalted peanuts. So crunchy and delicious, their fresh out of the shell taste makes everything special.
Hey, Planters unsalted peanuts. Isn't that nice? To a real cute guy from your adoring fans, we love you, Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford. P.S. Give some to Don. Hey, Frank.
Nope, no butter. I'm eating lighter.
We all are.
Even if it's margarine, there's nothing light about that.
Everything's light about this. 25% less salt, fat, and calories, and no cholesterol.
Fleischmann's Light. 25% less salt, 25% less fat, 25% less calories than regular margarine.
Delicious. So why should I eat dry toast?
Beats me.
Fleischmann's Light. 25% less salt, fat, and calories.
Holiday greetings from all of us here at the Jeffersons to all of you out there. Happy New Year!
Well, Bob, my partner, here we are again. And one thing I happen to know about you, you've had a very busy year, haven't you?
I have, and an interesting year traveling around the country and meeting people with the Bob Barker Fun and Game Show.
But every weekday morning, we know exactly where to find you.
My home away from home,
Yep.
The Price is Right, like Old Man River, just keeps rolling along.
But a handsome one. Now, getting back to the Rose Parade, Bob, you happen to know how this whole thing got started?
Would you believe, way back in 1890, with a self-decorated horse-drawn carriage by Pasadena's Valley Hunt Club. 7 years later came the bigger floats. In 1905, a rose screen was picked. Newsreels began covering the parade. Then coast-to-coast radio. Finally, television, and today the Rose Parade has become one of America's traditions with its magnificent display of natural beauty, grandeur, harmony.
Bob, I am so glad that I asked, but please, now let's get back to this year's version, 1985, shall we? Almost as much fun as a parade, Bob? A carnival. And what's the most colorful and most enjoyable ride at a carnival? It's the carousel. And now, from the carnival, we go to the scene changing to Casper, Wyoming, home of the famous Troopers Drum and Bugle Corps. Why in the world are they wearing authentic uniforms of the 11th Ohio Cavalry?
Why are they? I'm asking you.
Well, why not, says the founder of the group, Jim Jones. Under his direction, this exciting group has brought 11 international titles to its hometown, including 6 times International Drum Corps champions. Let's listen and see why.
The city of Torrance recreates springtime in Yellowstone Park, Wyoming with this float. But the weather doesn't have to be warm to create the natural phenomenon of the park that the park is best known for. It's geysers. They're steaming away while a complement of four-legged float riders looks on. At the front of the float stand two bison. And from the base of that waterfall, a moose looks on. High atop that mountain peak, a bighorn ram surveys the scene while a grizzly bear stands on his hind legs to get a better view. Look closely and you can also spot an elk and a mountain lion. Yellowstone was the country's first national park, so what better way to celebrate the spirit of America than by paying tribute to this beautiful section of the United States.
And there's a wonderful shot of that.
The waterfall, by the way, is blue ribbon and Wedgwood iris, white stock, cocoa sticks with white dendronium orchids.
Are just the things that I have in my dressing room.
Did you get your dendroniums?
Yes.
I thought they would never make it on time.
You've noticed the men in white along the street here. They're volunteers from the city of Pasadena, and we here at CBS want to thank two of them especially for all their help, Bob Grossman and Truman Stivers, and our thanks to tournament officials Jack French, Bill Flynn, and Frosty Foster. Frosty has been around many a year.
Without them, we couldn't get going here,
he's been a great help to us.
Well, now we get to see our famous symbol of freedom in her entirety, from base to torch. None other than the Statue of Liberty, and she's riding on waves of stars and stripes. Actually, this version of Miss Liberty, brought to us by Farmers Insurance Group and Companies, is scaled down to 1/8 of her actual size. Now, the statue may be smaller than usual, but she is the tallest float ever to travel the whole Rose Parade route. In order to go under the overpasses and wires along the way, this entry is engineered to lower from 40 feet to 16 feet, and that is quite a feat, if you'll pardon the pun. But no matter what or where, we know she'll always stand tall in our eyes. The Cherokee Indian word for the end of the trail. But Owasso for the high school in a suburb of Tulsa, Oklahoma, has meant the start of a bright road to success for these fine young musicians. The Rose Parade features some fabulous bands from all over the country.
You know, this is a well-traveled group, too. They've been here in Pasadena, direct from Dublin, Ireland.
I know where both of you and I were this summer, and we never heard them.
I heard them.
Oh, you did?
Well, it was after a few glasses of Guinness.
Oh, well, I heard that sound, too.
Winner of the International Trophy for Most Beautiful Entry outside the territorial limits of the United States, this next entry is a dramatic portrayal of a fierce phantom rooster representing the exciting spirit of Puerto Rico and its symbol of pride. Why salute Puerto Rico when our theme is the spirit of America? Because that same spirit allowed Puerto Rico to become an American Commonwealth in 1898. So Puerto Rico is a self-governing democracy protected by the United States, and its people are U.S. citizens. Petals of red poinsettias, gladiolas, and carnations in various shades are used along with chrysanthemums, calendulas, and marigolds to create this colorful creature. Accents of dendrobium and oncidium orchids highlight the fanciful feathers to complete this beautiful entry. Which one are the oncidium orchids?
I was just about to ask you the same thing. I don't believe you knew all those names. I'm very impressed.
I can read them.
You did beautifully.
I don't grow them.
Spectacular float. Look at that.
Oh, it's beautiful. As the Tournament of Roses parade continues, Nabisco joins with us in wishing you a very happy New Year.
You're so serious, but you still can have some fun. You can
Yum it up
with new wacky fruit bubble gum. You can live it up, wacky fun is on the way. I'm not giving up till you yum it up today. It's wacky taste that's popping up all over.
Yum it up with bubble gum.
I love to yum it up, new wacky fruit bubble gum. Yum it up with bubble gum.
Introducing Almost Home cookies from Nabisco, the cookies that taste almost homemade.
Look, almost home fudge sandwich cookies. Almost home? Yeah, they taste almost homemade. This cookie is real soft and chewy. It's great, but I wouldn't call them almost home.
New Almost Home cookies in 15 delicious varieties.
What would you call them? Mine. Yours.
Mint. Pure. Creamy. Refreshing. Whipped into a fresh, creamy center. Covered with just the right amount of rich, dark chocolate. And captured in every box of Junior Mints. Junior Mints, the freshest, creamiest mints this side of paradise.
Nabisco.
We're happy to have this moment to wish all of you out there a Happy New Year from all of us here at Knott's Landing.
Happy New Year!
Now, this next float, created by the city of St. Louis, is the winner of the Queen's Trophy and is a tribute to the American dream. It takes us back to the 1920s and 30s and from California to the Midwest. The scene is a farm and a family is gathered to celebrate the Day of America's Independence, July 4th. In front of the float, a young couple preparing a hayride. Those horses should look familiar. They're the champion Clydesdales. And no matter where you see them, they're impressive.
You know, I'm from St. Louis, and I've had the privilege of seeing them perform quite a few times. They are magnificent.
Now, Mom is calling everybody to dinner, but Grandpa there's fast asleep in the hammock. But brace yourself, Gramps. I think there's a firecracker in your future. If this float seems to be larger at the front and smaller at the back, there is nothing wrong with your set. This entry uses forced perspective. The design isn't original, but the concept comes from early American painters like Grant Wood and Thomas Hart Benton. Friends at home, please believe me when I say we're really dedicated to the Tournament of Roses parade. After untold hours spent with my French dictionary, I will now attempt to announce the appearance of a très important group. All right, you ready? Musique Municipale de la Ville de Genève.
Whoa.
Or resorting to my native tongue, the Geneva, Switzerland Municipal Band. And don't think this is a bunch of upstarts. This group was first founded back in 1863. And here they are, all the way from their native Switzerland to Pasadena, California. And what I want to know is who's minding the bank.
Good question. International has dedicated this float called Youth, Bridge to Tomorrow, to the youth of the world. It also heralds the beginning of the United Nations International Youth Year. This float is paved with roses, tulips, carnations, and chrysanthemums, and the bridge spans a floral stream made of iris, blue delphiniums, and orchids. That is quite a few flowers. 40 members of the International Youth Choir ride on the bridge, and more are riding in the boats on the stream. These children, you'll notice, are all dressed in native costumes, and they have sung for audiences all around the world. Cosmopolitan Float. In 159 different countries, Rotary helps young people to learn to serve, to lead, and to understand their world. And that is not a bad resolution to make on the first day of 1985. Happy New Year, everybody, on that float.
As you folks who have been watching the parade for years have learned, you see it first on CBS, and this next entry is the city of Carson's tribute to its sister city in Japan, Soka City. This is an authentic Japanese creation, from the traditional kimonos to the torii gate. Two towering figures dressed in magnificent kimonos and carrying fans and parasols ride the float. The intricate details of their costumes are created with orchids, miniature roses, iris, and delphiniums. One more detail makes sure east meets west. The mayor of Carson, Kay Callis, is riding on the float next to an official from Soka City. And they didn't forget the graceful black swans found only in Japan. No ugly ducklings there.
Not that I can see.
Friends, what you are hearing is the Salvation Army Band. And this is not just any band in the Rose Parade. This one has been around longer than any other band in Rose Parade history. They started marching back in 1920.
That was
now,
way before my time.
When you look at them, they just don't look old enough to have been here in 1920, do they?
They weren't.
Oh, these aren't the same ones?
No, not at all.
I understand.
That is, however, some record. But look at this, Bob. What's coming up right now is a herd of humpless camels, or better known to most of us as llamas. Now we're celebrating the spirit of America, the South American way. Lowry's Foods has created an Andean marketplace right here in Pasadena on Orange Grove Boulevard. High in the Andes Mountains, a flock of llamas passes a marketplace filled with stunningly decorated wares. Some of them are spices and fruits and vegetables, pottery, even woven rugs. An array of woven willow baskets and ancient crockery contains some of the world's most exotic blooms. In fact, 12,000 of the blooms on this float happen to be coral Sonia roses, my favorite. Fanciful birds are in the cages right there, and translucent awnings cast rainbow patterns on walls of white chrysanthemums and beige Mexican iron corn husks. Corn husks? Again, imagine appearing in public, Bob, the first day of 1985 with wrinkled corn husks.
I wouldn't do it. They'd be pressed, or I just wouldn't show, right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know, all of these animals remind me that I have some doggone good news. Snoopy and all the Peanuts gang will celebrate their 20th anniversary on CBS tonight with an animated musical special. It's Flash Beagle, Charlie Brown. And while we're at it, let's wish a Happy New Year to the creator of Peanuts, our good friend Charles Schultz, who was the Grand Marshal of the parade a few years ago.
Previously? Well, Happy New Year.
Now, this float is definitely a first, at least for Culver City. Title premiere, this is the first time Culver City has entered the Tournament of Roses parade. This is a celebration of California's film industry, and much of its history belongs to Culver City. In front of an Art Deco-inspired theater, there is the ultimate stretch limo, a Duesenberg-like 35-footer. Who are the stars sitting in it? Well, one is Miss Culver City. Other stars milling around, and a photographer is having a field day. Under the pink and white lighted marquee are Floragraphs, a film classics made by Culver City-based studios. These include The Wizard of Oz, Singing in the Rain, and Gone with the Wind. No wonder the city's motto is the heart of Screenland. And I wasted my time dreaming of being discovered in Hollywood.
We're not doing too badly, though.
Sometimes a man just needs to be alone with his fruit-chewing Newton's cookies.
Jimmy!
New Apple Newtons with fruit-chewy chunks of real apple.
Hey, Jimbo, where are you?
And Fig Newtons, too.
I know you're here somewhere, and I know you've got those Fruit Chewy Newtons.
Fig Newtons and new Apple Newtons for Fruit Chewy fun.
Let you ride my bike.
Dad, are you coming back with those cookies?
My new Chewy Chips Ahoy? Never! Adults love this chewy kind of Chips Ahoy. Mmm. So many real chocolate chips, you can see them inside and out.
Mom, Dad got the Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Harold, you better save some for me!
New Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Nice going, Mom.
Loaded with chocolate chips.
Lot of chips, but not for adults only.
We're gonna have one terrific party.
Not with these snacks.
Well, if you want something really delicious, have a ball.
Huh?
With Planters.
For that crunchy, cheesier taste, have a ball with Planters cheese balls.
Hey, Planters run circles around those.
Uh-huh.
Crunchy.
Cheesier. I'm not having a ball.
For that crunchy, cheesier taste, have a ball with Planters cheese balls.
Regular and new family size.
Now I'm having a ball.
Nabisco.
From all of us to all of you.
Happy New Year!
You know, we were talking about Valine's twins earlier, Bob. Did you know that I happen to be a twin? Well, no, wait a minute. I'm not exactly a twin. I'm a clone.
Clown, maybe, but not a clone.
All right, maybe both. But my lovely clone is right down there on the starting line booth. It's Miss Mary Fran.
That's true, Bob. You know, Joan and I have been like sisters ever since we were young actresses back in New York.
No, Mary, younger actresses,
You're
okay?
right.
Younger actresses.
Yes.
You know, we went everywhere together, didn't we? We did
Yes, we
everything together. We did some crazy things, too. I mean, we were kind of like Lucy and Ethel.
I think we still are.
Yeah, we are.
You and I have had a lot of hilarious times together, and we do have a lot of things in common, especially the fact that we're not exactly the world's greatest cooks.
Mary, we're lousy cooks. Do you remember that New Year's Day party that we threw together?
How could I ever forget it?
Yes.
That's the one where you and I decided that we would make all the food ourselves.
All ourselves, right.
Remember my famous cheese puffs?
Cheese puffs? Are you kidding? Those were solid rocks. I still use one as a paperweight.
I think the other guests did, too.
Oh, and do you remember those Ramus
Before
fizzes
this
that we
gets too weighty, girls,
What?
let's get back to the parade, really. Fruit and vegetable lovers, gather round, because Sunkist Growers presents the Orchard Express. It's a quaint, oversized cart carrying homegrown fruits and vegetables. That's no horse pulling the wagon. It's a whimsical ram decorated with ribbons and flowers. Actually, our horned friend has a garland around his neck. It's made of giant flowers petaled in gladiolas, carnations, and real oranges and grapefruit. Chrysanthemums in lavender, yellow, and white cover the cart, while marigolds and roses in shades of orange and yellow create the boxes and fruit and vegetables. If it's true that an apple a day keeps the doctor away, there must not be an MD for miles around today, Joan.
I'll bet there is.
Well,
The city of Calgary, Canada salutes the Canadian-American West and the artist who have preserved its history in sculpture with its entry, Taming a Continent. And this is the winner of the Princess Trophy this year in the Rose Parade. This is a bronze rendition of a rodeo scene, and that horse is trying his darndest, just like in any rodeo, to get that man off his back. This bronze look, by the way, is created through the use of a range of dry materials, very fascinating, such as seeds, spices, and pressed sycamore leaves. The base of this sculpture is hand-tooled leather. Well, actually, I mean a variety of fresh flowers, based on the intricate designs of skilled Western craftsmanship. A lush floral arrangement on the base of the figure gives the float just the right feel of the Wild West. Now meet the marching Trojans from Auburn High School in the state of Washington. The Trojans have three things they like to brag about. First, their superior ratings at the North Puget Sound Band Contest. Second, the original music they're playing that was written by a former student, Alex Triscanero. And third, to raise money for their trip to Pasadena, they collected a stack of newspapers 18 miles high. That's almost as high as some of these floats themselves. Bravo!
energy, no matter what form it takes, oil, water, sun, or wind. It's not something to be taken for granted, but something precious to be protected. The city of Los Angeles reminds us of this with its entry, People and Energy, a Delicate Balance. Rising from the front of the float is an arc of rushing mountain water that's transformed into high-energy bolts of electricity. The arc symbolizes the balance which must be kept between human ingenuity, urban needs, and environmental protection. We also see modern means of energy transportation, boats, pipes, and rails. And don't miss that beautiful Los Angeles cityscape. You can see the Arco Towers, the Westin Bonaventure Hotel, Department of Water and Power Building, City Hall, the Hollywood Bowl, and the Carroll Street renovation project. Wait a minute. There's something missing. The smog. Where's the smog? Actually, that's all in our imaginations, right?
Arco salutes our national parks and wilderness areas with these realistic animated sculptures of a family of California grizzly bears in a Sierra Nevada mountain meadow. This float has won this year's sweepstakes trophy in the Rose Parade. And it is an intricate one. Papa Bear rises to a height of 24 feet to stand on his hind legs. And the whole family towers over the other float riders. We have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and state park rangers. You can see Mama Bear surveying the scene while one cub sniffs a beehive. And another cub is balancing on a log while trying to catch a golden trout leaping from a stream. This wilderness spot is part of the John Muir Trail, named after the naturalist who explored the Sierra Nevadas in the late 1860s and the 1880s.
No, it's kind of odd, Mary. I don't think you can find grizzlies in the state of California anymore. We really have to be careful about the balance of nature in these things.
You're absolutely right. Well, these are some terrific replicas on this float. No wonder it took the sweepstakes.
How would you like to encounter him on a day hike?
Oh, don't even mention it. My hair would go right into a total natural.
Now, here's a team that should have competed in the Olympics. Carl Lewis would certainly have had a run for his money. It's the tortoise and the hare racing for the finish line. Entitled Everyone Loves a Winner, this fun presentation of the famous race was created by the city of Duarte and the city of Hope. This time, the hare is riding on top of the tortoise's shell in an effort to get an edge. The tortoise is actually roller skating. Now, you probably think the hare is going to do it this time, don't you, Joan? No, wrong.
Why?
At the last minute, the tortoise stretches out his neck more than 9 feet to win by a nose.
Oh, well, Bob,
Now
here
what?
today, soup tomorrow.
This band, presented by McDonald's, is all-American in every sense of the word. The more than 100 members are picked from the best musicians in high schools from our 50 states, plus the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. The band is performed at New York's Carnegie Hall, the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, and we have the privilege of enjoying them here in the Rose Parade for the 15th time.
If I fell asleep, Bob, and woke up in paradise. But that's exactly what Bullock's department stores had in mind when they created this fabulous float here called A Beautiful Way to Live. It's a tribute to the spirit and the splendor of Southern California, which we're enjoying today. This section of the Golden State definitely has a distinctive style. And in vibrant colors, we see a paradise of birds and flowers. Those exotic fowl display their brilliant plumage made of orchids and carnation petals and stems of arachis and Cambria orchids. Riding in this exotic wonderland are exquisitely dressed ladies and gentlemen, and they've got a great view from those rail terraces surrounding the garden, and boy, we up here, Bob, have got a beautiful view of them.
I just noticed there are gentlemen on the float, too.
Oh, now. Now, here's one of the real
several prestige equestrian groups in our parade, the California Heritage Riders, marshaled by Christine Lunn, who is a local Los Angeles television personality. These are all top-bred American saddlebred show horses, and the Heritage Riders have been parading together for 11 years. Just look at those colorful costumes, Bob.
Beautiful. Baskin-Robbins Ice Cream Company pays tribute to one of North America's oldest and gentlest animals, the moose, with this float called Moose Love. That's M-O-U-S-S-E as in the dessert, not M-O-U-S-E as in Mickey. The strawberry lady moose swims through a forest pond while Chocolate follows behind, giving authentic moose love calls. His nose stretches 24 feet into the air each time he tells her just how much he cares. Ask your boyfriend to try that some Saturday night, girls. But here's the best part. Along with a backup group of 5 harmonious frogs, Chocolate has the help of America's all-time sweethearts, Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald. And it's funny, I'm beginning to crave chocolate. Some candy, that is, not the moose. That's because the actual aroma of cocoa is rising from this float. What do you figure, about 50 calories a sniff?
Oh, I'm afraid so. Hot chocolate's one of my favorite things. Well, we deserve it today.
Absolutely.
The Nabisco family of fine products is proud to be a part of the 1985 Tournament of Roses Parade.
Carefree gum tastes too good to be sugarless.
Do you think Carefree gum is really sugarless?
How could anything that tastes this good be sugarless?
Yes, Carefree tastes too good to be sugarless.
Do you think Carefree bubblegum's sugarless? No, tastes too good.
That's right. Carefree tastes too good to be sugarless, but it is.
If Carefree is sugarless, I'm about to strike oil. It is sugarless.
Hope you like sugar, because this box contains not 1, not 2, but 6 added teaspoons. This has 10, and this 18. And spoon-size shredded wheat, none. When you shred the wheat for better toasting, it tastes great naturally. So it goes against our grain to add sugar, or even salt. Nabisco Shredded Wheat. 0 added sugar or salt. 100% whole wheat.
Nope, no butter. I'm eating lighter.
We all are.
Even if it's margarine, there's nothing light about that.
Everything's light about this. 25% less salt, fat, and calories, and no cholesterol.
Fleischmann's Light. 25% less salt, 25% less fat, 25% less calories than regular margarine.
It's delicious. So why should I eat dry toast?
Beats me.
Fleischmann's Light. 25% less salt, fat, and calories.
Holiday greetings from all of us here at Airwolf. To all of you out there, Happy New Year!
Remember that old slogan? It's what's up front that counts? Well, that must be the motto of this famous band from Punapo'u School in Honolulu, Hawaii. This is a colorful group of 185 fine musicians, but as you can see, they're leading off in front with 10, count them, 10 lovely Hawaiian dancing girls. Swirling their flags, precision marching, looking great on this beautiful Southern California day for the Rose Parade. To know where the hula girls are.
We remind you that you see the band, you see the equestrian unit, you see the floats, you see the whole thing first on CBS.
Of course. I guess the only thing you're not seeing is the 10 Hawaiian dancing girls.
With the next float, the Independent Order of Oddfellows and Rebeccas recalls our national pastime during the 1890s. People are enjoying themselves in the town square while they wait for the excitement of an afternoon baseball game. At the center is a replica of the statue of Thomas Wildey in Baltimore, Maryland, the founder of the fellowship. An ice wagon bearing the name Pasadena Ice Company rolls through the square pulled by the famous Smizer mules. This team can't be too stubborn, Joan. They're not only pulling that wagon, but the whole float.
And doing a good job of it. Abby Dalton of CBS's Falcon Crest is riding on that float, I might add. There she goes. Remember Bob, the ugly duckling who turned into a beautiful swan? Well, here she is right now gliding down the parade route. Her elegant wings rise to a height of 16 feet and extend along the length of the whole float. This beautiful bird is brought to us by Pea Soup Anderson's Highway Centers, who salute the American duet, business, and the arts. And to make their point, 4 dancers perform on the float, or is it on the swan's back? I don't know. The adult dancers there, by the way, are from the Houston Ballet Company. This float is not quite a swan song, I'd say, but it definitely salutes enterprising partners, business and arts, and moves along to the beat of the music. The rear of this float consists of lily pads and water flowers, completing the illusion that the swan is floating on a lake, and the lake, of course, is floating right in front of us here on Orange Grove Boulevard. Now, here are 10 of the world's rarest and the most beautiful stallions, all Andalusians, with Pat Garrison as marshal. And Pat tells us that down through history, Andalusians have been a favorite of both saints and sinners, including Julius Caesar, William the Conqueror, Louis XIV, and Napoleon. And today, they're the favorites of many celebrities like, say, Jacqueline Onassis, Burt Reynolds, Dean Martin, and Clint Eastwood, along with members of the royal family of Sweden. Now, there are a few saints and a few sinners in that group, I'd say. Bob, I happened to have ridden one of these horses last year, and it was one of the most incredible rides I've ever taken. It was
with
fabulous.
Clint Eastwood?
No, it was with Burt Reynolds. No, it wasn't.
You know, Bob and Joan, during the American Revolution, many armed citizens pledged themselves to be ready for combat at a minute's notice. I couldn't even get out of bed that fast. Fondly termed Minutemen, these men were our first militia. This float, called Sentinels of Freedom, is created by the city of Montebello and shows a Minuteman standing guard over a fledgling nation. He's standing on a drummer boy's drum adorned with olive branches symbolizing peace. He holds the flag of the Continental Congress, proudly waving its 13 stars and stripes. And from that time forward, nobody could call that number unlucky.
You've never seen a chariot quite like this one, and it holds 3 of the most beautiful women in the world.
Ooh.
Catalina Swimwear salutes, you'll know them too.
I bet I will.
Catalina Swimwear salutes the free and easy American lifestyle with its entry, Beauties of the Sea, and I do mean beauties. It's a delicate scalloped seashell big enough to carry the reigning Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA. This mother-of-pearl carriage is drawn by a colorful hippocampus.
A hippo what?
I'm told that's a mythical horse with a fish's tail.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's say hello again to these lovely ladies. Cherise Haugen, Miss Teen USA, May Shanley, Miss USA, and Yvonne Riding, Miss Universe. And by the way, Joan,
what?
I believe that you and I will be co-hosts of these pageants again this year on CBS.
Miss Universe, yeah.
Yes. Why do you always wear those curlers in your hair in rehearsal?
I guess it's gotten to be a tradition. I did it for the first one, and I guess I always will. It's good luck.
Like saying you'll see it first on CBS?
You might.
Hey, folks, if you haven't celebrated New Year's yet, it's not too late. We're all invited to a party given by Small World Greetings on their float, Happy New Year, America. And all of you who melt at the sight of cuddly stuffed animals, brace yourselves now, because this enormous teddy bear is just adorable. He's got a coat of bronze chrysanthemums, he's dressed in a jacket and hat of red carnations, and he's surrounded by balloons and streamers and noisemakers of status, carnations, chrysanthemums, and straw flower petals. There's a giant drum there, and there's a cake you could really sink your teeth into. Lots of young children out here cheering this float. From all corners of the world come to the United States to make new lives for themselves. They settle down here, and then the miracle begins. Slowly but surely, they become no longer just Japanese, Russian, Irish, or East Indian, but Americans. And what's the special ingredient? American magic. That's the name of the city of Burbank's 50th entry in the Tournament of Roses. It's a floral portrait of people from all over the world representing their heritage. This float really shows the United States as the melting pot of the world. People from every country drop in, and differences don't disappear, but they melt together into that special combination called America.
You like surprises? Well, we have a real beauty for you now. Singapore Airlines and the Singapore Tourist Promotion Board salute the surprising spirit of Singapore. This float won a tournament special trophy for exceptional merit. 4 translucent curtains made of thousands of petals applied to clear plastic move on specially designed tracks. They alternately hide, then reveal gardens and 4 waterfalls. That's real water, too. And this entry carries more than 100 gallons of extra water to ensure that it keeps falling. 6 carved pillars surround the float. The semi-relief sculptures are created with various combinations of white-on-white flowers and other exotic materials. Incidentally, now that you folks are starting the new year right by watching the Rose Parade, be sure to keep the good times rolling with an outstanding variety show coming up on CBS January 9th. Barbara Mandrell's Something Special.
Gelatin? Nabisco, makers of Royal desserts, want you to know there's no more delicious pudding or fruit-flavored gelatin than Royal.
You love Royal. It's from Nabisco, so you know it's good.
Introducing almost home cookies from Nabisco, the cookies that taste almost homemade.
Look, almost home fudge sandwich cookies. Almost home? Yeah, they taste almost homemade. This cookie is real soft and chewy. It's great, but I wouldn't call them almost home.
New almost home cookies and 15 delicious varieties.
What would you call them? Mine. Yours.
Break open the mint that's sparkling fresh. Break open the mint that cools your breath. Break open the breath savers.
Cool, refreshing breath savers. The blue in the middle breath mint that's sparkling fresh and sugar-free.
Break open the mint that's clean and brisk. For bread that's fresh enough to kiss. Break open the breath savers. Nabisco.
The CBS coverage in the 1985 Rose Parade will continue.
Get set for a movie about a woman pretending to be a man pretending to be a woman until a gangster finds out the truth and falls in love. The Academy Award-winning mix-up comedy starring Julie Andrews, James Garner, Robert Preston, Alex Karras, and Leslie Ann Warren. Blake Edwards, Victor Victoria. Tonight at a special time.
This is CBS.
Furnishings Unlimited will be closed Monday to slash prices store-wide for their gigantic New Year's Day sale. Doors open at 10 a.m. Tuesday, New Year's Day at Furnishings Unlimited, Appleton.
A no-profit holiday. That's right. Dean's TV Appliance and Hi-Fi is proclaiming New Year's Day a no-profit holiday. That means you'll find once-a-year savings throughout the store. For the first time ever, Dean's will open their doors from 11 until 5 on New Year's Day in order to move out their merchandise. Everything must go. Dean's really does beat the price on all TVs, appliances, and stereos during the no-profit holiday going on New Year's Day at Dean's, Green Bay's #1.
Different people have different kinds of coughs. A dry cough, a cough that keeps you awake, a cough with a stuffed-up nose. And some people have a combination of symptoms. That's why there are 4 different kinds of Robitussin. Each contains an expectorant to help loosen phlegm, one a cough suppressant to quiet coughs, one adds a decongestant to relieve stuffy nose. One combines all these relief actions. 4 different Robitussin cough medicines for different kinds of coughs. Which Robitussin should you take? Ask your doctor or pharmacist.
Happy New Year from all of us at WBAY TV, Green Bay.
Welcome back to the CBS live coverage of the 1985 Rose Parade with Joan Van Ark, Bob Barker, Mary Fran, and Gerald McRaney.
Hi, this is Frank Gifford for Nabisco Brands. We'd like to wish your family a Happy New Year from the Nabisco family of fine products, like Nabisco Shredded Wheat, Lifesavers Candy, Fleischmann's Light Corn Oil Spread, and Ritz Crackers. Everything tastes better when it sits on a Ritz. Now back to the Tournament of Roses Parade, sponsored by Nabisco.
Welcome back, friends, to our CBS coverage of the Rose Parade. Now, a few minutes ago, we had a short revival of Girl Talk with Joan Van Ark and Mary Fran. Well, right now, I'd like to go one-on-one with a man that I've always admired, Bob Barker.
Well, thank you, Gerald. It's great having you with us on the Rose Parade.
You know, I envy you, Bob, working on those beauty pageants with the most gorgeous women, not just in the United States, but in the universe.
Well, I always say when you've seen one beautiful woman, you want to see them all. But I envy you, too, Gerald. On television, I just stand around and talk, but you're a man of action. You know, in Simon & Simon, you chase villains, you catch crooks.
Well, true. My contract says if I stand still for more than 2 minutes at a time, I have to turn some of my paycheck back in.
By the way, I have a great line for your show.
Okay.
You see, your brother gives you a clue, then whispers, keep it under your hat.
That's terrific, Bob. Can we really use that?
Absolutely.
Friends, you've just seen what could be very important. The first Emmy Award ever made for one single line.
It was wonderful.
Brought a tear to my eye.
Me too.
Sailing turbulent waters, forging ahead with his army, it's George Washington crossing the Delaware River. Oh, wait a minute. That's not our first president. That's a little boy, and that's no boat. It's a porcelain bathtub. Just see this scene through his childlike eyes. And it's not history he's making, but a Saturday night bath he's taking. Family Home Entertainment recalls this weekly event in their whimsical entry. With his army, a woolly sheepdog, and a fuzzy teddy bear, Washington sails through waves of Dutch iris, lavender, cattleya, orchids, roses, carnations, and tulips. His flimsy craft will generate an estimated 2,016,000 bubbles during its heroic path along the parade route. Multicolored motorized fish made of purple dendrobium, Sonia roses, some of my favorites, and orange marigolds scurry from his path.
Could I hear you pronounce those flowers just one more time?
Just one more time. Oh, you devil. Everybody likes a winner, right? Then you ought to love this Apache marching band from Arcadia, California. The Apaches have won the California State Championship 10 times in the past 15 years, and that's quite a record. Where do winners like that wind up? Well, where else? In the Rose Parade for the 6th time, and deservedly so.
You see, Gerald, when your brother says, I have a clue for you.
Yeah?
And then he says, keep it under your hat. That's because you always wear that hat, you see?
I see, Bob. I'll take it up with our producers.
Be careful, in a minute he'll be charging you for the line instead of giving it to you free.
Picture of the 1800s brought to life, the city of Arcadia recreates the delights of a winter sleigh ride in the tradition of a Currier and Ives lithograph. A 16-foot tall gray horse steps gingerly among fresh fallen snowdrifts and patches of ice, drawing a hand-tooled sleigh behind. The passengers are Miss Arcadia and her court, kept warm with a quilt patterned of roses, carnations, marigolds, calendulas, and dendrobium. They have a great view from that sleigh, a meadow dusted with snow made of white iris tulips, camellias, and cattleya orchids. They can also see a fox peeking from behind a fallen log to watch sparrows searching for food under the snow.
That is a beautiful, delicate-looking float.
My husband is about to eat a new candy. New super fruity Bonkers. My son thought Bonkers was gum. He knows it's candy now. Chewy fruity candy with this extra fruity inside. So super fruity when you eat Bonkers fruit candy.
Bonkers. Bonks you out.
Some candy.
Are you coming back with those cookies?
My new Chewy Chips Ahoy? Never! Adults love this chewy kind of Chips Ahoy. So many real chocolate chips, you can see them inside and out.
Mom, Dad got some Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Harold, you better save some for me!
New Chewy Chips Ahoy.
Nice going, Mom.
Loaded with chocolate chips.
Lot of chips, but not for adults only.
Sometimes a man just needs to be alone with his Fruit Chewy Newtons cookies.
Jimmy!
New Apple Newtons with Fruit Chewy chunks of real apple.
Hey, Jimbo, where are you?
And Fig Newtons, too.
I know you're here somewhere, and I know you've got those Fruit Chewy Newtons.
Fig Newtons and new Apple Newtons for Fruit Chewy fun.
Let you ride my bike. Nabisco.
We're happy to have this moment to wish you a Happy New Year from all of us here at Simon & Simon.
Happy New Year! Now, for you folks who just joined us, you've nearly missed it, but welcome to the Rose Parade. Everybody is still talking about something thrilling we saw earlier, the actual torch from the Statue of Liberty removed during renovations.
And this is the only time that it will ever be seen outside New York Harbor again until it's placed in the Ellis Island Statue of Liberty Museum. And that's so future generations of Americans can also admire it.
Mr. Lee A. Iacocca, the chairman of that project, is also the Grand Marshal of the 1985 Rose Parade, and earlier we asked him about our parade's theme, the spirit of America.
And I think it's just so appropriate now. There's this outpouring of good feelings and patriotism in the country, and what better symbols you have in the Statue of Liberty, freedom, the symbol of hope, and Ellis Island turned that hope into reality and made things happen. So I think it's fantastic, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Of all the cookies in the world, one appeals to children most. It not only tastes good, but it's fun to play with, too. So the Bakery, Confectionery, and Tobacco Workers Union has named their float after these tasty critters that capture kids' hearts. A beautiful truck driven by two bakers pulls two carts filled with, you got it, animal crackers. These cookie creatures are decorated in coconut, spices, and a variety of seeds, making them good enough to eat. The vehicles are covered in white, yellow, and Christmas red mums with lavender stock for detail. Other flowerings used are pink and red roses with white gladiolas. Which brings up that old movie Animal Crackers. Groucho Marx is auctioning off real estate, and he says, "What am I offered for lot number 44? It's only a stone's throw from the station. When they throw enough stones, we'll build a station." Thank you very much indeed.
You enjoyed them during the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games. Now meet and hear once again the marching band from Foothill High School in Pleasanton, California. This band began back in 1976 with only 20 members, but now with its 150 smartly dressed musicians in white coats, blue pants, and Scottish-style shakos, they have won so many titles we can't list them all on a page. And Foothill is the first band in the history of the Portland Rose Festival to retire the sweepstakes trophy at their Festival of Bands.
Definitely not animals to be afraid of, especially not this camel created by the city of San Bernardino. But you know, there was a time in the great American desert when they were feared by man and beast alike. I'm told that camels were the primary means for transporting supplies to government posts in desert regions. But the sight of them approaching used to send the horses and the mules there running. Now, the first caravan of camels to travel through the desert delivering supplies encountered an encampment of Paiute Indians as they came around a hill. At the sight of these camels, the frightened Indians left in a hurry. This golden camel here in our Rose Parade is kneeling on a Persian carpet patterned with oranges, grapefruit, lemons, limes, and avocados. And riding on this camel's back are three beautiful ladies, Miss San Bernardino, Miss Black History, and Miss Mexican Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Mary, you've heard of all-American athletes. I know you have, but have you ever heard of an all-American city? Well, Santa Ana is just that and should be proud because they won the theme trophy as most fittingly presenting the theme, and it's showing the spirit of America right here with its 1985 entry called Architects of Freedom. This float traces the history of freedom with scenes from America's past, present, and future in bas-relief sculptures. You could say the figures really stand out because, well, after all, they're actually people. These float riders are built into the floral gardens to become living sculptures. And there's something else different right here. The riders look strangely alike, and no wonder. Uh-oh, Valine. They are 7 sets right there of identical twins. I better not tell her about that.
Very best wishes for a happy new year to your family from the Nabisco family of fine products.
Wilderness, Canadian wilderness. Northern lights and frozen skies over Yellowknife. The run of icy rapids down the Fraser and Mackenzie rivers. Virgin snows building on the shoulders of Mont Tremblant. And gold, Klondike gold. Moosehead, the beer that captures the spirit of the Canadian wilderness. Brewed by Canada's oldest independent family brewery. Moosehead, the imported beer with the taste that's head and antlers above the rest.
We're going to have one terrific party.
Not with these snacks.
Well, if you want something really delicious, have a ball.
Huh?
With Planters.
For that crunchy, cheesier taste, have a ball with Planters cheese balls.
Hey, Planters run circles around those.
Uh-huh.
Crunchy.
Cheesier. I'm not having a ball.
For that crunchy, cheesier taste, have a ball with Planters cheese balls.
Regular and new family size.
Now I'm having a ball.
Oh, 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 who's that kid with the Oreo cookie? Is this your one and only, eating up the creamy middle, dunking all the luscious chocolate like he did when he was little? It's a chore to be mature when you're crunching an O-R-E-O. Oh, so yummy and appealing. The kid in you can't fight that feeling.
Oreo cookies for the
kid in all of us.
Have you ever noticed how many products are constantly being improved? Well, we introduced premium saltines in 1876, and they're still every bit as good today. We brought out Lifesavers and Oreo in 1912, Baby Ruth in 1921, Royal Pudding in 1932, Planters in 1906, and Shredded Wheat in 1894. And they're all still every bit as good today. Because at Nabisco Brands, we make it right the first time.
Nabisco. We'd like to take this moment to wish you a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! Isn't this a sensational parade? We have some of these beautiful floats on tape. They went by during our commercials, and we'd like to have you see them now. Mary Fran, I believe that the first one is one that you're going to describe for us, isn't it?
Take it away, Mary.
That's right, gang. I'd like to ask you all what sushi headbands and compact cars have in common. The answer should be easy. They all originated in Japan. This next float that we're seeing right now is Transamerica Occidental Life Insurance's salute to Japanese culture and its contribution to the American melting pot. Just take a look at those three beautiful geishas in their ornate kimonos covered in orchid petals, roses, carnations, and gladiolas. They're surrounded by a gorgeous Japanese garden in which multicolored butterflies perch on those floral trees. You can see the sun filtering through their wings, and I tell you, if it had just stopped raining, and I'm glad that isn't the case, I would say I had seen a rainbow. And there are two other beautiful ladies on this float, Anne-Marie Colburn, last year's Rose Queen, and Leslie Ann Kawai, the 1982 Rose Queen. Very fitting for her, especially because she's of Japanese descent.
Now, going back in time, this next float, created by the Lutheran Laymen's League, reminds us of a period when religion was not always found in churches and temples. In those days, circuit preachers would travel around the country preaching the Word of God, such as, "And the Truth Shall Make You Free," which is the title of this entry. Services were held by the side of the road, in village squares, and anywhere people wanted to gather to pray. Things used by preachers are beautifully represented here, surrounded by dogwood blossoms and hovering butterflies, an elegantly illustrated Bible, a cross, and a vestment.
Does everyone know, I wonder, Bob, that absolutely every item on each float has to be something living, live, has to be flour, corn husks, a couple of them?
They must be. That's right. And I think I read that it is estimated that there are about 100,000 flowers on most of these floats and as many as 1 million petals.
That I didn't know.
Young volunteers, they call them pedal pushers, and
that is impressive. But you know what's almost as impressive as that, and almost as much fun as a parade? It's a carnival, which we see right here. And what's the most colorful and most enjoyable ride at the carnival? Well, it's the carousel. I just wish I were on this carousel created by the city of Downey. And who is that riding on the prancing horses? We'll see her in a moment. It's the reigning Miss Downey and her 4 princesses. And this isn't just any old merry-go-round. Oh, no. This is the Carousel of Nations. Its canopy is made up of flags of countries from all around the world, and to top it all off, there's a globe at the peak of the canopy. You can see that right there in the center. The float is built and funded by volunteers and businesses in Downey, and it's made of mums, carnations, marigolds, and roses. Well, grab your partner, swing around, do-say-do, bob to the sound, because here goes the square dance. It's created by the Square Dancers of America, and this is Woodsy Owl's and Smokey the Bear's salute to square dancing. The dancers are performing in the center of a forest meadow, and Smokey, right there, our symbol of forest fire prevention, looks on and tips his old hat there. Is that Bambi looking over his shoulder? Looks like that to me.
Does it seem to you that we've had more animals than usual in the parade?
Do you mind that, Mr. Barker?
Not a bit. This is the decade of the animals.
Well, I'll go for that. Woodsy Owl, by the way, is also on that float. It's the symbol of anti-pollution, and he rides right there at the front of the float. There he is. The music that those dancers right there are moving to was especially arranged for this float, and appropriately they are called the Smokey Bear Song and the Ballad of Woodsy Owl right there. The computer and the space shuttle are new technological advances, right? But back in the 1800s, American know-how was seen in much simpler inventions. Take the steam engine, for example. And the Unocal Corporation, that's the new name, by the way, for Union Oil, did just that when they created this float right here. With this scene, they salute American leadership in technology. It's an American industrial exposition where formally attired spectators view the marvels of an authentically reproduced steam engine. Boy, look at that. Its pistons are actually pumping, the wheels are turning, and the steam is billowing out while the whistle blows. Boy, I sure wish they still use steam for railroad locomotives, because I'm telling you, there is absolutely nothing like the sound of the nostalgic woo-woo of that lonely train whistle. The Dreadnought Marching Band from Lakeland High School in Florida has its proud history of 60 award-winning years. But we happen to know it's also made some awards itself. In fact, during a fundraising auction held by the lovely contestants of the Miss USA pageant this year, I happen to know a very special honor was announced. Bob, you know anything about that?
Well, modesty precludes me explaining.
Oh, well, then I'll go ahead and do it for you. I quote, they formally inducted Bob as a member of the band, and from the citation, I read, in spite of his tin ear.
Exactly.
Is that true?
That's true.
Well, that's our Bob. You know, he has an ear of tin, but definitely a heart of gold.
Well, you do have a way with words.
Don't I? We should be host and hostess.
If you're afraid of heights or of flying, well, you better not look at this float, because up we go into the wild blue yonder. This is called Something Special in the Air, and it's American Airlines' interpretation of the history of flight. It begins with a hot air balloon flying around the world, moves on to the early Wright brothers aircraft, one of them that got off the ground, and it even includes such classics as Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis. Now, on a more current note, you can see an old DC-3 passenger plane, the new DC-9 Super 80 jet, and communications satellites. And the Space Shuttle Columbia can be seen up front, rising over 22 feet into the air in a flurry of smoke and fire.
Now, you think of grandmothers and you picture little old ladies with gray hair making cookies in warm, cozy kitchens. Well, this gal is something else. She's not only larger than life, but she's chasing criminals with a rolling pin. Everybody's favorite granny, the little old lady from Pasadena, has joined a neighborhood watch in the middle of this float created by Huntington Sheraton Hotel. And she's zeroed in on a burglar as he tries to escape from a chimney. He won't just be caught red-handed, but flat-headed, too. Other burglars peek out of the chimney of cartoon-like houses. Well, we've tried everything else to combat crime. Why not rolling pins?
Or I could throw one of my cheese puffs at him. That would certainly knock anyone out cold.
Don't do it, Mary.
I think that's cruel and unusual.
Cruel and unusual punishment, yes.
The California fair industry salutes what they know best with this entry titled The Wonderful World of Fair. Blue ribbon winning sculptured farm animals slowly revolve around a carousel there. There's a horse, steer, pig, sheep, rabbit, chicken, a duck, and even a turkey on that float. That is a winner if I ever saw one, and in fact this one was.
Well, friends, that winds up our 96th Rose Parade. And Joan, once again, it was great working with you. And let's hope somebody finds Val's twin.
Somebody better. Absolutely. And thank you, Bob. It's been fun working with you. And if you ever come across something that looks really good, just make sure that the price is right.
You got it.
Okay.
Mary, we've been a great team. I think we could have a great future together.
I sure agree. I understand your friends call you Mackie.
That's right.
So if I may say, Mackie, it has been wonderful working with you again.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I wish you lots of good luck in '85.
Thank you very much.
Be sure to stay tuned for the Cotton Bowl game coming up on CBS. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been the CBS live coverage of the 1985 Rose Parade.
Hi, this is Don Meredith again for Nabisco Brands. We hope you enjoyed the Tournament of Roses Parade sponsored by Nabisco and our team of great products like Royal Desserts, Cream of Wheat cereals, Baby Ruth candy bars, and Chips Ahoy cookies. That's my favorite chocolate chip cookie. So long, and Happy New Year from all of us to all of you.